Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. So as you guys know, this is the final episode for season 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed this season as much as I've enjoyed making it for you guys. But your girl starts classes on Monday and I want to prepare for that, as I said before. So I'm kind of nervous for it. I'm kind of excited for it. I really don't know how I feel about it yet. But if you guys are subscribed to my YouTube channel or anything like that, I'm sure you're going to see the journey along the way. So you can follow that and follow me while the podcast is on a break until I get everything together. So before I get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you guys for always tuning in with me, especially all you guys that tune in every single week. Like, y'all are the real MVPs, no lie. Alright, so today's episode, I actually want to talk about changes. And not just like changes within ourselves, changes when you get into a relationship. Because let's be honest, when we start a new relationship, sometimes we want to seem like we're this perfect person for someone, or we want to come off like we like this or we like that. And in reality, we might not. And the first thing that I want to say is when you're starting to talk to someone or dating, I always feel you should be your authentic self and always be yourself. And don't get me wrong, new love is very exciting for a lot of us. And you get to know them, they get to know you, you like the getting to know stage and all of that, and it's fun. Then it becomes to a point where you guys are like inseparable. But along with that, I feel like the process of getting to that point is also very stressful and can cause a lot of people to lose themselves in that process. And I always feel like when you start the dating process, or you're starting to fall in that habit of always seeing this person and everything like that, that you owe yourself and this person nothing but the truth and the truest form of yourself. No white lies, no bullshit, none of that. If you have weird hobbies, or you pair your food weirdly, or you like weird films or anything like that, I think that's something that you can say and you should say to someone that you're getting to know, because it's better that they know the true you than find out later on. And what if that makes them squeamish, or they're not for it, or something like that? It's honestly better to have your true self out and about. And don't get me wrong, we've all done this. We've all acted like we've liked something, or liked a band, or liked a certain food, or a music or movie, or whatever the case may be. We all have done it. I know I myself have done it. I remember because I said that I didn't mind having mushrooms one time, and my ass ate a whole ass stuffed mushroom because I said that. And the reality is, your girl hates mushrooms. I will only eat it unless it's finely chopped. I will not eat it whole. I won't have it in slices. No, it's not for me. I think it's more of a texture thing. And it's funny because this person found out later on in our relationship, like, oh, I thought you liked mushrooms. All of a sudden you don't. And that's when the truth comes out. You're like, well, it's not really my thing. And ever since it came out and the truth came out about that, it was like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, okay, I don't have to stuff mushrooms down my throat knowing I hate them. Especially because the guy's family was Italian, and they would make stuffed mushrooms for Sunday dinners and stuff like that. And I would avoid it like the plague. I would eat everything else, and then by the time the mushrooms were out, I'd be like, oh, I'm so full. Thank you so much, though. But with that being said, you gotta be honest with what you like and what you don't like. That's definitely step number 1. Step number 2, don't hide your weirdness, because your weirdness is what attracted your partner, essentially, because something about you made you unique. So don't be scared to show that either. And I get it, some quirks and things that are weird might not always be cute, but eventually it's always gonna come out. Like, what happens if this person's the love of your life and you're married and all of this, and all of a sudden you have this weird quirk that you just never showed, and this is news to this man that has been dating you for a few years now. That could be a weird hobby or habit, anything like that. And I think you don't have to be ashamed of it or anything like that, because it's who you are, it's who you truly are. These are things that we grew up with that made us, essentially. So if you have a hobby like that might be a little different or weird, keep it. Introduce them to it, show them what it is. You never know, they might just like it. I know with one of my exes, one of my hobbies that he had no idea about was like crocheting. And it's just funny because he didn't know that about me until later on, because he asked me what I was doing and I just casually said, "Oh, I'm crocheting such and such." And he was like, "Oh my God, you do that?" And I told him, "Yeah." And we talked about it a little bit, and he didn't find it weird or anything like that. He's like, "Why didn't you ever tell me?" And when I told him later on, it was actually cute because we would go to Michael's, he would buy me yarn and all of that. So it was fun because you never know. They might be the most supportive person in the world, finding out about your hobbies or things like that. And now, one of the biggest things for me when you're starting a new relationship is keeping your old relationships. And I mean keeping them alive. A lot of people like to literally drop up friends like they never happened. And I get it. In the beginning of a new relationship or trying to get to know someone, you're gonna be all shacked up and all of that. You're gonna be busier on the weekends or the weekdays. But eventually you end up coming out of that little coop and you're going to start searching for your friends. You want to keep those lines of communications with them open. That be your friends, your family, whatever. Because if you have plans with your friends or your family member or whatever, don't flake on them because of this new relationship. Keep your promise, keep your word with them. Keep that date that you guys plan to do whatever it was. And I believe that keeping these relationships still open while you're getting to know this new person is a form of being your true self, because these people were there before this new relationship and these people will be there after this new relationship. And these people keep you in your true form of who you are. Another big one for me in trying to keep your truest form of yourself with this new partner or relationship is to not rely on them for everything. Because before this person, I'm sure you were self-sufficient, you were doing things on your own and making decisions by yourself without the need or help of somebody else. I'm sure you'd ask for an opinion or two from a friend or a family member to help direct the decision you want to make. But at the end of the day, you made that decision by yourself. You don't want to get lazy all of a sudden and have your partner, now that they're there, all of a sudden make all the decisions for you. Because when you start turning to your partner for everything, from cooking, decision making, handling money, you end up losing yourself in that. And you become dependent on them for that. And I get that it's tempting to sit back and relax and let your partner kind of just take the lead if they're an alpha male or whatever. But with time and leaning on them for everything, you end up losing your confidence in making your own choice. So with that, I mean, be yourself and make your own decisions, even if it's on the little things that you enjoy or the little things that you don't feel like doing, or a decision that you just are for sure certain about. So why I even talk about being your truest form before entering a new relationship, this leads me to the changes. A lot of people like to change when they get into a new relationship. That could be good or that can be bad. Sometimes when it is a good thing, it's because you're changing and growing with this person and you're becoming a better version of yourself. And don't get me wrong, I don't think you need to be single and go through this healing process by yourself and be by yourself all this time, because that's also not the case. I feel like someone always gets put into your life to pull on these strings, to show you where you need to grow from, need to learn from, and all of that. I do think that when people try and change who they are for someone, it causes trouble down the line, because the change that happens isn't authentic or natural. One thing is you want to change because that's what you want to do and it's for yourself and your own growth. But another thing is trying to change just so this person can like you more. And obviously your partner is bound to have some kind of influence in your life, especially when you're around them so often. With that said, you have to make sure that these changes that you're making are positive for the two of you, or once the love is gone, everything washes away. And don't get me wrong, every relationship is also different. It can be beneficial for you to make these changes because you grow as a person and a healthier version of yourself, or it could be the worst change and it creates an unhealthier version of you. Some of the changes that can happen are positive. And with that, I mean you become a better person, you become a healthier person, you're expanding your horizon. You might even change the way you approach conflict. Those are positive changes as an individual, as a person, and just growing like that with this other person. So in that case, I feel like changes are positive. And like I was saying, with every new relationship that comes, you learn something new. And with positive changes, it grows on you. One of the biggest things is, like I just mentioned, how you approach conflict. And I feel like if you as a person change the way that happens, that's a great thing for you and your relationship. Because let's say one of you guys likes to avoid conflict at all costs and walks away and shuts down from that whole situation, and the other person likes to dive head in, you guys have to figure out a happy medium of how to resolve that issue and how to resolve whatever problem is going on. And you have to find a way to discuss these issues in a healthy way, of course. That one is probably one of the biggest changes that I actually approve of, because so many people don't really know how to handle conflict and don't really know how to communicate because of so many relationships that have ended or trauma that was caused in past relationships. In one of my past relationships, I actually learned and grew with him on communicating and conflict. He would actually point out to me when I was shutting down, and I would take that into account and actually watch what I was doing and saw how I was acting, and I learned from that. And to be honest, because of it, I learned how to handle conflict a little better and how to communicate a little better with him. It helped the relationship as well. Now, the issue when things become negative when changing is when you start resenting them in the future for whatever changes were made. Maybe they pressured you into changing to some kind of thing that they like. Later on, that shit is not going to sit well with you at all. Another negative change that I see is when the change is a pressure that gets put onto you, because ultimately at the end of the day, that decision is yours if you're trying to change or you want to change for that person, not you changing under pressure so this person can love you more. Because you're wonderful the way you are. You will meet someone that will love you for who you are, what you do, what you don't do, what you like, what you dislike. I really firmly believe that there is someone for everyone. Shit, even the hoes love hoes. The hoes love each other. Like, come on. Another negative thing that I see is when you start to neglect important people in your life. And what I mean by this is changing to the extent where you stop hanging out with the people that you love and that are important in your life. And like I've always stressed, how do you expect your friends to actually sit there while you've dumped them and God forbid that relationship ends? Do you really expect them to actually still stand there by your side after you've completely neglected them? I always stress that you should always keep your life that you had before them. The person that is coming into your life is supposed to enhance the life you've already made for yourself, and you can combine them together. That's one of the biggest ones that I have seen and noticed is when people actually end up losing their own life, their lifestyle, just because of this newfound relationship. And who's to say that this person is your person for life? And don't get me wrong, that could be the case, and they might just be that person for life, but they also are not going to be the person to restrict you from living your life that you had before. Yeah, maybe you'll tone it down. You're not going to go out partying every weekend, drinking every weekend, out here catching a man or a woman every weekend, or whatever the case is, because you'll obviously have respect and boundaries within that relationship. So, with that being said, if you are changing in your relationship, make sure you're changing because you chose to do that and you are becoming a better person. Don't change because somebody is pressuring you into it or they're making sly ass comments about changing certain things about you, because then that person is not the person for you. When somebody is constantly giving you a tip or a sly remark of change this or change that, or oh, you should do that or you should do this, honestly fucks with your insecurity. If it's something that you didn't know about or never put thought into it, it creates a new thought and a new thought process into whatever this person is saying to you of what they think is a good thing to change about you or to do. And remember, at the end of the day, any change you make is ultimately your decision. Don't do it for anyone else besides yourself. Anyways, with that being said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this a final episode for season 2. And thank you guys once again for being on this ride with me. And I will see you guys for season 3. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube, you can go ahead and do that and watch the latest vlogs or chit chats with me and keep up to date with me and all that good stuff. Anyways, have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys for season 3. Thank you for listening again. Bye.